Thank you. Well, let's bring in Chidi Nwaonu. He is a security consultant and a blogger. Thanks for taking time to talk to us on the program. Clearly, security is a huge issue in this election. Are you surprised, though, that none of the candidates seem to have taken it head-on in the campaigns?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not surprised because in the Nigerian context, this is something that is happening to other people. It's happening to, who we would describe as the masses rather than to the elite. So we've had, this violence touch the elite with the former chief of defense staff being killed by bandits along the road. But in general, the elite are insulated from this. So it's something that is spoken about in abstractions. But the reality is that it touches, the ruling class in ways that maybe would be surprising to us sitting here in the West. So places like in the Northwest, which, your correspondent alluded to, there's a huge bandit problem in which you have states like Zamfara, Sokoto and Katsina being overrun by bandits who are overrunning entire villages, taking on the army with RPGs, small arms, IEDs, things that you wouldn't expect to see. Now that's an interesting nexus between what's happening right now in Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali, in that you get Fulani jihadists coming all the way down into northwest Nigeria. And this is also the home state of the president, Katsina state, yet this is a crisis that's not being addressed whatsoever. Why
does no one want to touch that hot potato?
Because there's several reasons, and maybe some of my responses might be a little bit controversial, but security is a big business in Nigeria. People make a lot of money from the ongoing wars. If you end the wars, if you end the internal security crisis, then people will not be able to take, the ways in which people make money from these crises are not just, the straightforward taking money off the top of arms contracts, but it's taking money from soldiers' salaries. This is why the casualty rates always vary so incredibly, because soldiers will be declared missing rather than dead, and then somebody will be creaming their salary off the top. There's huge corruption kind of networks that surround this. And the other thing is, it's a very difficult problem set. It's not something that our leadership, unfortunately, in Nigeria seems to have the ability to deal with.
And that's where I want to come in here, because people are asking, really, is it possible for candidates or anyone to promise to deal with this issue in 1 term or 2 terms, really?
You wouldn't be able to deal with the issue in 1 term or 2 terms, definitely, but you will set the foundations for the solution. So the solutions to Nigeria's problem are not, the popular solution in Nigeria, which is let's spend more money or let's buy more weapons. It's structural. We need to reform the police, which is the key. All of Nigeria's problems are internal. Internal security problems, conflict resolution. We need to reform the police, the courts, so that people can solve their problems without resorting to violence amongst themselves. And the police can, squash, insurgencies or insurrections before they become conflicts. And at the same time, you need the military to be completely reformed. Nigeria, again, this harkens back to corruption. Nigeria has at least 5 or 6 different rifles that it uses, whilst in the British Army, the Air Force, and Navy all use the same rifle. It makes it easier to supply, to repair, and all of these kind of things. But if you imagine you've got a unit deployed and they've got 5 different rifles, if one breaks or 2 or 3 breaks, you need 2 or 3 different types of spare parts, 2 or 3 different types of people who can repair it. There's a huge avenue for corruption and for mismanagement.
Very interesting thoughts there. Chidi Nwaonu, thanks for taking time to talk to us in the program.
Thank you for having me.